Well, just making a little report. It's almost Christmas 2014, so I guess this is round about the point where I started from. I went back to 1986. Haha. Well, still alive. Fingers crossed, don't die in the caravan. You see, oh gosh, what a story. It's been absolutely amazing. I mean, it would make television worth watching, what's been happening. You know, for 3 months in a tent, and the council don't want us in that tent, in that location, because we're sticking out like a sore thumb. Bristol is spending billions handling its homelessness problem. It's all a fiddle. It's a bunch of greedy cokeheads who have taken over the council, and they're keeping thousands of people in temporary accommodation, calling them homeless, letting them live lives of decadence, totally on charity, drugs, alcohol, and so forth. Yet I cannot be accommodated in the hostel in the community I want to work for, Southville, because they discovered that although they had dogs before, it's only when a person has just come out of hospital that he can be accommodated with a dog. I say, come on, intelligence, humanity. What kind of rule is that? There's a man been sleeping on the green for 3 months in a tent until it was burned down. We know who burned it down, who didn't want us there. The rest of the community was waiting for the love factory. Yes, well, the next day there were 3 tents, but I was then presented with a caravan. Unfortunately, I was all ready to go and do my job. That is, I had the caravan to escape to. I went into the house of a woman, Pat Niblet, to charge up my batteries before moving into the caravan so that I could come out with my new phone, my Sony smartphone, with 8 or 12 hours of entertainment under my control, and my block rocker, which is a loud amplifier which allows me to mix music from any source with this voice, or this voice, or any voice that I choose to mix it with. You know what I'm saying? When we're on a block rocker, I do not need to shout or swear to avoid being ignored. You see, this is what I was going to do with the council. I was going to say, look, you left me 3 months sleeping in a tent here with a dog, no toilet, no electricity, no running water, teeth deteriorating daily, and unable to get treatment, unable to even brush your teeth. Anyway, I was going to deal with it with the council officials, you know, because normally they would come up to the tent and say, you can't be accommodated because you voluntarily made yourself homeless. Excuse me, you say, well, my psychological programming, as recorded by the National Health Service over the years, would predict that this character would respond in a loud Scottish accent, shouting and swearing, which has already been used by Richard Hawkridge, the council security agent, who went to court and said that I was loud and aggressive. Well, aggressive, in my understanding, means that there is a threat of violence. Is it not? Isn't aggression physical trouble? Yeah? So, I'm never aggressive. So to accuse me of being aggressive is wrong. It's bad. But that's used as an excuse to the judge to have me evicted from that green. If I go on that green within the next year, I will be arrested. I will be sent to jail and Ali, my dog, will be disposed of, so I won't come out of jail, right? Well, I don't think that's right, but hey, like, I would like to discuss this kind of business uh, without having to shout or raise my voice to avoid being ignored. You see, when I actually used the block rocker briefly for Richard Hockridge, the council security man, I spoke like his dad or his professor or his mentor, my boy. You know what I'm saying, my boy? Yes. And this frightened him because this is not something we can ignore when it's amplified through the block rocker. It's about 50 watts. You can hear it on the other side of the street. So I'm not shouting, I'm not swearing. I'm just saying, hold on a minute. 3 months in a tent, then it's burnt down, and half an hour later this Richard Hockridge shows up to tell me I've got to go quickly to a very undesirable part of town where there's a hostel now willing to take me with my dog. Very undesirable part of town, nowhere to do my mission. You see, I've not been getting any respect from the people who are supposed to be helping me. I'm considered band 4 priority for housing, whereas anyone with an urgent need for rehousing within the next 3 months is band 1. Now, I've got to watch all the band 1 people take all the houses that are suitable every week, and I'm likely to wait for another 2 years before I actually qualify for one that I want. So how am I to live? Well, I was going to hit it with a block rocker and with my computer because I can put a telephone call on and Bluetooth it to the block rocker, and the whole community can hear both sides of the conversation while I'm squawking to Mr. Council or Mr. Councillor or Mr. Mayor. Both sides of the conversation can be heard by all the witnesses here and recorded like this. You see, I haven't got the block rocker here because I haven't been able to charge it up in a month, because while I was waiting for the caravan I got out of the tent, which was looking like a muddy battlefield scene by that time. So many people had come up with help that they'd mushed up all the grass into mud, so it did look like a bit of a World War I battle scene. So I took the opportunity to go indoors at this woman's house, Pat Niblet, to charge up my block rocker and my phone, ready to go. Well, for one thing, she watched so much pornography that the phone never worked again. Right, I had to take it back to be repaired. It was 3 weeks in with the shop I bought it from before they admitted that it can't be repaired, and eventually I forced them to give me a replacement, an inferior model. I paid £250 out of my old age pension, thinking this is the job of my life. I paid £190 for the block rocker, £250 for the phone computer. Let's do it. Got the microphone, I've got the voice, I'm not swearing, and I'm not shouting, and I'm not Scottish. No sir, don't give me that job tree. Yeah, I'm ready to do my job. Now let's clean up the corruption in this council so this can be a bright shining city for all the community from here on. In this 4 weeks, right, what happened is Pat is, abused my phone so it didn't work again. She's wanted to have sex with me. She wanted sex against my consent. Very crude and brutal sex. I don't think this 72-year-old woman has ever had sex with a man. Certainly not with a man who enjoyed it. You know what I mean? Just grab cock. Nothing for me. Nothing for me to play with. No. And what is it she thinks sex is? Watching spunk coming out of a dick. Is that it? Well, so I was saying, no, that's not my game. I just come in here to charge up my batteries, sleep out of the rain and the cold. Well, 10 minutes. Yeah, well, who cares? If you want to hear this, you'll hear it. Other than that, it's a record. She called the police on me. I went out and bought a vacuum cleaner out of my old age pension, 85 quid. Good enough to do the job, to make this house less filthy, less like a pigsty, and more like somewhere where I would like to wake up in the morning. She wouldn't even let me unwrap it and read the instructions, you know. And so Sunday evening I'm lying on the bed thinking I've been up all night working, I might just, relax now. Yeah, and next thing I know is somebody's tugging my foot. I'm lying on the bed with a dog, and it's two uniformed police officers come into my place of sleeping, a known drug user, and no witnesses. That could have been the end of this life and this career. Very easily. If I had responded wrongly, I'll get nicked, I lose the dog. I'll never see this computer or that phone or anything else again. I'll just die, sadly, in jail. Well, that was a freak out, wasn't it? So I very politely and quietly muzzled myself, packed up my stuff and got out of that situation without getting arrested. But she's gone and told other people where the caravan is. She told the council man, Richard Hockridge, that I had a caravan. That meant he could go to court and get me evicted from the Green without having to take any responsibility for where I was going to sleep that night. And so it has been for the month since then, because the block rocker got accidentally discharged by being left on or bumping into something and getting switched back on for overnight, went flat, and I haven't been able to find a place to charge it up since then. That's a month of not using the equipment and not doing the job, arguing with the phone shop about getting a replacement and trying to get the block rocker. So what it is I don't have a single friend to count on. And I think what it also is a bit of fear about what I'm going to do when I actually have the block rocker charged up. I'm going to have to start telling the truth. I'm going to have to say, look, sorry, you might be enjoying it at the moment. You're just new into it. You people in your 40s and 50s that are now allowed to drink alcohol and use cocaine in almost every establishment in Bristol, right? This is the new thing, And we're getting away with it as well. Yeah, right. Well, that's not really who I want to preach to, because I say that's trouble, that's bad, that's compassionless. Cocaine has got no compassion in it. If you let society develop that way, it will be hellish. And the marijuana has been all but wiped out here in Bristol. I don't care what the Bristol Cannabis Club says, because that's just a front for a few businesses to sell things to cannabis users and make themselves look great, and also act as informers for the other side, because when I was getting publicity for my homelessness, and I am a cannabis champion and that is why I'm homeless, when I was getting publicity in the Bristol Post, who should start adding bad comments about me but the wanderer from the Bristol Cannabis Club, who accuses me of bad things like I've been in prison, must be a bad man. No mention of cannabis, because you see the Bristol Cannabis Club says don't tell anybody about it, just come to the parties and you'll get something and you'll be very grateful. Don't tell anybody that this is a good thing and we ought to do it together and it's a social drug, it's not a selfish ego drug like cocaine. Gosh, this report's getting quite long, so I think what I'll have to do is stay alive and do more. I will get charged up somewhere. Yeah, that's what it is. I'm scared of what's going to happen, because when I start going, and I've got 10 hours volume and about 8 or 9 hours backup from the phone here, I can take it all the way. No, I don't think housing should be run by cokeheads. I think we need more compassion in the council. That is, I don't want to see hostels filled up with people using Class A drugs and alcohol and begging on the street and accepting handouts everywhere and never doing anything to earn what they get in life, and basically looking out at the hostel and laughing at me in the tents while they're bringing kids into the world, and they don't even understand yet it's a place where you're supposed to contribute before you take. Yeah, well, I want to clean all that up. You know, I could get my head kicked in, but when I put the block rocker on, who do I direct myself to? I don't want to direct myself to people that are just going, oh, I'm on a hedonistic party trip, drink as much as I can, snort as much as I can, and see if I can possibly get anything. Yeah, well, God will find me who to talk to. Thanks for listening. It's been an adventure. I might go out, I might just tragically just disappear. There's a hell of a story to be told. Good God, man, if I was a kid, I would have read it every night until I couldn't stay awake anymore. And then I'll be running, oh, finish. And then I'll be reading it again the next day. It's that kind of story, man. I'm bigger than any of the heroes in the books I was reading when I was a teenager. And that includes James Bond. Yeah, well, Granny, thanks very much for keeping me humble but smart.